In today's wrap-up, Armenia's total number of coronavirus cases has reached 72. The implications of the current state of emergency have been announced. Nagorno-Karabakh state minister says the March 31st elections will go ahead. Armenian churches will suspend mass rituals and hold live streams. 67 Armenian citizens have arrived in Yerevan from Italy and have been quarantined. Armenia's central bank has stated that the financial system is stable. According to Minister of Health Vardan Petrosyan, the total number of cases of COVID-19 has risen to 72. Many of the newly infected patients had already been isolated with relation to the case in Ejmiadzin, Armenia's fourth largest city, which is now under lockdown. The epicenter of the outbreak has been confirmed to have started from an infected woman returning from Italy who attended an engagement party in Ejmiadzin. All of the newly infected patients have been isolated and their recent contacts will be tracked down. Currently, more than 300 people are under quarantine. Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan stated that 2 hospitals in Yerevan are fully equipped and prepared, with 2 additional hospitals on standby in case of a further rise in cases. Following 6 hours of deliberation during a special parliament session, Armenia's National Assembly declared a month-long state of emergency, effective till April 14th. The state of emergency will entail the following. Armenian citizens will only be allowed to leave the country by plane if upon return they are placed under quarantine or self-quarantine. Entry of foreign citizens will be restricted. Checkpoints will be set up around Armenia where authorities will conduct medical screenings for symptoms. Rallies and demonstrations will be banned. Gatherings of more than 20 people will be prohibited. This will include religious ceremonies, concerts, exhibitions, theatre performances, sports events, funerals, weddings, and educational events. Moreover, the April 5th constitutional referendum will be postponed, as the law stipulates that national elections cannot take place during states of emergency. It may be pushed back to late June or early July, in accordance with Armenia's laws. The State Minister of Nagorno-Karabakh, Grigori Martirosyan, has stated that the March 31st presidential and parliamentary elections will go ahead as planned and pre-election campaigns will not be suspended. As of yet, no cases of coronavirus have been reported in Karabakh. However, Martirosyan did announce a number of preventative measures that Nagorno-Karabakh authorities are undertaking, including suspending the issuing of visas to foreign nationals, limiting workforces, restricting large gatherings, sports events, national celebrations, as well as checks on those entering Karabakh. Martirosyan also said that monitoring groups and media arriving to cover the general election will be excluded from the entry restrictions. The Armenian Apostolic Church has announced that mass rituals will take place without crowds in attendance, and that live streams will also be set up for churchgoers. This comes after church authorities were urged by Health Minister Vardan Petrosyan to suspend church gatherings. Over the weekend, some criticized church authorities for not suspending gatherings, which they saw as a possible means to further spread the coronavirus. Armenian church authorities have also suspended religious educational institutions and museums as well. 67 Armenian citizens who arrived in Yerevan aboard a charter flight from Rome on March 16th have been placed under quarantine for 14 days in the resort town of Dilijan. Charter flights have also been organized to evacuate Armenian citizens from Iran, where the scale of the outbreak remains unclear. According to a new emergency regulation set up by Armenian authorities, all those who are arriving in Armenia from Europe will either be placed under quarantine or self-quarantine. This comes as the death toll continues to rise in virus-hit Italy, where 349 people died only on Monday. And finally, Armenia's central bank has announced that the financial system of the country will continue with its normal operation. It urged commercial banks to consider loan payment delays for those businesses which are exposed to consequences of the coronavirus outbreak. The Union of Banks as well as credit organizations announced that they will adopt personalized approaches for their customers. Despite the major slowdown in economic activity, the Armenian currency remains stable with a slight devaluation towards the dollar and euro. The central bank also dropped interest rates from 5.5% to 5.25%.